Right then, hello, good evening and welcome. My name is Paul, I'm also called Knickknack, and I am the brains behind Knickknack's Daily Teaser. It's a fun daily brain teaser, and you've possibly seen it float past on YouTube, Facebook or Twitter. I also very occasionally talk about films, although not as often as I have, partly because there's too damn long films doing the rounds. I also sit around and watch TV shows, and if I see one I like and think is worth talking about, it's something I'll talk about here on my YouTube channel. I've just finished watching the so far one and only series of Watchmen, which is quite good, with some very good world building. And I've also been watching Series 3 of Discovery. I've watched the first two without posting about them here on YouTube, and I've decided to go for broke and talk about Series 3. Plus, of course, just recently, last night in fact, I saw Episode 3, People of Earth. Here's what I think. Episode 3, People of Earth, opens with the by now traditional summary of preceding episodes, and then shifts, showing us Commander Michael Burnham's personal log up until rejoining the Discovery, and telling us that she's been acting as a courier since arriving a year earlier in the 3130s. She's overjoyed, however, to rejoin her crewmates, but feels somewhat ambiguous still. She and Saru, however, agree that as he is the more senior officer in the chain of command, he should take charge. But she quietly admits to her old friend that she feels deeply ambiguous about his offer of the first officer's post. There's one other thing she tells him. She's received a message from a mysterious Admiral Tal of the modern series of the 30th century Starfleet, asking for help and telling them where he can be found. On Earth, on an Earth that's no longer a member of the Federation, and there's a slight problem, because according to Captain Nadoy of the United Earth Defense Force, Admiral Tal died several years ago. There's going to be trouble ahead. Now, good, bad, indifferent, chocolate flavoured, what have we got here? I'll be honest, for starters, I don't think calling an episode of a sci-fi TV show is necessarily chocolatey, or relevant, actually, come to think of it, or possibly even useful. Calling this episode forget it, forget the chocolate thing. It's not a Toblerone, it's not chocolatey, it's another good episode. It really is, chocolatey or otherwise. It's the story itself. It's almost classic Star Trek. It's the Discovery heading for a planet, Earth in this case, finding there's a problem, and then helping people solve the problem. That's pretty much a bog standard old school Star Trek episode. The Devil in the Dark springs to mind. Captain's Holiday is another one. Turn up somewhere, find a problem, help solve it, totter off for next week's episode. But there's a twist. The story arc in this episode is slightly less than in the first two series of Star Trek Discovery. It's an old school Star Trek episode, but still with a story arc. It's less focused on, but it's still there. We find Admiral Tal is unexpectedly alive and is actually a Trill symbiont, currently in the 16-year-old form of Adira Tal, one of the United Earth Defense Force investigation team. She's human. She's a human playing a host of Trill symbiont, in other words. So that's a bit more world building there for the series. We see more about the burn, about how that suddenly destroyed the galaxy's dilithium. We see more about how Earth's doing. And I've got to admit, that's kind of what's impressive me. This is a very good episode. It's a good standard Star Trek tale. Standard, usual yarn. But we see a little bit more of the world building going on, and that's fascinating to me. Partly why I like science fiction and fantasy is there's world building going on. This was a good little episode in that, and it's one that's impressing me about this third season. Jumping forward, I think, for this third season, I think is something that's done Star Trek Discovery a favour. We can see a different aspect of the Federation, and we can see a story unfold in that new world. Personally, I can only hope two things. I'm a Doctor Who fan, I'll admit it, and I can only hope that Doctor Who, when its next series starts, picks up from this world-building thing that other shows are doing. And B, I can only hope this sort of meaty Star Trek Discovery keeps going in episode 4. I'll be watching that next week. I'll be watching it next Saturday. I hope you'd care to join me. Have a good day.